All right, hello, hello. So let's talk about what's going on right now. Previously, we set up an event forwarding from our own private environment it's called January. So you'll see the January appears here in the URL. And this environment is configured to send events, forward all of its events to a SaaS environment. We call it SaaS because it's a centralized, but basically it applies to centralized environment or not a centralized environment. And when the event synchronization is happening, all the events that I receive here in January, when I go to SaaS, this is the event itself. Now, you might notice that the event here is not in the same severity. It's in critical. This is because I modified it. But when I modify it, you see that it is not reflected in my own environment. It means that the communication is unidirectional, and I need to switch it to be bidirectional. And both of my environments are half a world apart, different continents, but they both sit in AWS. And it means that I need to open communication from the central SaaS environment, from SaaS environment, in this case, to my own private OBM in a way that allows it to communicate on port 383 where the events would be updated. And we do it in AWS, so it means that firewalls are going to be involved. Okay, so how do we do that? I'll go to the load balancers and I'll go to the private load balancer in my, what it's called, um, in my private AWS instance. And I'll look at the forwarding rule. I need to find the internal IP of the healthy instance, for which I'll create a new target group. For the type is going to be IP address, so it's going to be 383 January public. Okay, it's going to be a TCP port 383 forwarding. Okay, and the VPC is going to be the January VPC. Okay. Right. Sorry, I need to use dashes, cannot use spaces. So I'm going to be doing it like this. Click on next. I'm going to add the healthy IP address from previous step. And I'm going to be creating the target group. So I have the target group created. It's a target group that is basically a replica of existing one, right? So you see January TGTCP 383. It's a replica of the previous one, like one-to-one, but you can assign only one target group per load balancer. So I have to replicate it. But now when we'll go to our load balancers, I'll take the public one, January public, and I'll add a listener from the list. TCP383, select a target group. I select the one that I created and I click on add. Okay, so now I have 3 listeners in my public load balancer. One of them is for port 383. This allows incoming communication on this port from everywhere, basically. Okay, because this is a secure port with its own certificate exchange that is not based on anything public, then it is as secure as it gets. But now, because my central environment already has this certificate, then it would have no problems communicating back and forth. Okay, so now it's time to put it to the test. We need to wait for these TCP. Sorry, the load balancers. We need to wait for, oh, come on. Refresh fast. Okay. We need to wait for the 383 to initiate. It takes a couple of minutes for it to verify that the new target group is working. You see it still says initial. So once it will be in healthy status, then we can start our test. It's not something that should be bothering you because any new setting that you create of this sort, it takes a couple of minutes to take on, and then you never go back and check on it because it's healthy. So right now it's initial. Let's wait for it for a sec. Okay, and now it worked. And if everything is okay, when I check my private environment, the changes that I made in SaaS should be reflected here. So I go and, oh, by January has changed to major. So let's run a clean test just once more. I'm going to generate an event. This event will be created on my own OBM and forwarded to the SAS OBM, and both of them are going to be in the normal status. So first I'm checking my own, and here's the January in a normal severity. I'll go to the SAS OBM, and I should see it here as well in a second or so. Let's wait for it. Yeah, there's just too many events of this kind, so let's close them. Okay, so here's the SAS. I have no idea what it's doing here. And let's see, my event was created. Was it forwarded though? Okay, I see that my major event has disappeared, but in my SAS, it seems that I did not get the event. Let me see why it happened. So we'll forward another normal event to SAS. So here's my third event. Come on, SAS. Oh, okay. There was a little bit of a lag. So this is the recent one. Both of them, as you see, are in a normal status. I'll go to SAS right now, and it's SAS. Look at the URL over here, right? And I'm going to change this to warning. So from green, it should be changing to blue. I'm going to my own environment, and it is blue. Okay, you know what? I'm not happy with this blue. I'm in my own environment. I disagree. I said, no, this is critical. Let's see what happens to us in SAS. And in a second or so, it will change in SAS to critical as well. So you see, two operators might be having a little bit of an opinion battle between them. But this is how the bi-directional communication between two OBMs looks like, right? I can, for example, edit the title and says, January, do not touch. And ideally, it should change in the private environment as well. And it says, January, do not touch. So there is very much detail that flows between those two environments. And this is how you set up a bi-directional communication between both of your OBMs. Now, why do you need bi-directional communication between two of your OBMs if you could do everything from the central one? In case you're gathering data or forwarding events to Optic or whatever you're doing with reporting or other systems, you want your events to be synchronized between all of those systems. Otherwise, you might be sending mixed messages where something says that SLA was, let's say, 99.9%, and another place would say, well, I'm collecting all of the events from all of the OBMs, and my collected data says that it was normal all the time. So what SLA are you talking about, right? Because data sources do matter and data flow matters. So having bidirectional communication is much better. Okay, well, I hope you like this one. It was a really fun thing to do. And I'll see you in the next one, where I guess we would be forwarding metrics from a private environment to a central environment that has Optic, and basically only one of them would have the Optic. So very, very nice scenario where applicable for customers that would like to buy SaaS from Micro Focus, or where they want to keep Optic existing only in one of the instances, but they have multiple instances in their own setup. So see you there.